Where to begin? 2019 was the year that I finally said, like, screw it, I'm going in. There had always been something there that kind of, let's just say, like, didn't really fit right um, with how I was living life. And last year I decided to just, like, dive in and see what was underneath that. Um, and the other day I was messaging a friend of mine in Ireland, and she kind of asked, like, well, how are things been? We haven't spoken in quite a while, and the message I sent back was, well, 2019 was quite the year. I went through 3 jobs, coaching people, doing some consulting work. I had a work permit refused, getting a letter from the government saying I might have to leave the country. Um, Broke up with my fiance. Um, Moved back into my sister's basement. Um, and she kind of said, like, sounds hectic. And, when I thought about it, I really get that. But for me, last year was the first year for me that I actually started looking at what was happening in life. There were lots of things that weren't really where I wanted them to be at, and I couldn't figure out exactly what it was. I could put a finger on it, but as I started diving into it, a lot of life I've just been, like, living as who I thought I had to be. Um, and this may sound like a one of those, like, simple things of, like, well, no kidding, like, that's just not a good idea. But for me, last year I got that as an experience. There were a lot of things I knew logically, like, if connecting the dots up here instead of actually connecting the dots down here. And last year I started connecting them down here and really connecting back into my experiences of life. And I moved to Canada a little under 4 years ago, and really moving to Canada was part of, I couldn't put up with doing the same thing over and over and over again. And that's been kind of the one of the biggest pieces for me. Like, I knew I wanted more out of life. And I moved to Canada, started a whole new life, and things got really uncomfortable. But it started the process to get me to last year, which was actually taking out all of the pieces that don't work anymore. And it was uncomfortable, and I probably cried more last year than I have in my entire life. Um, but I'm also in a place now where I'm more content in myself than I've ever been. And I'm less willing to put up and tolerate things. Like, my worth and my value, like, I've gone through the roof. And instead of putting myself in situations where I have to sell those things and kind of convince people of them, actually going to places where they're appreciated, or people need that specific skill set. And last year was kind of like the year that I decided I'm gonna, like, go for the heartbreak and go for the pain, because the other stuff was just not working anymore. Like, I've been very successful in business. I've tried setting up my own businesses. I've borrowed money from family. I've screwed up finances. Moved countries. Really gone and done, like, a real spectrum of things. But when it comes down to it, a lot of those situations I knew deep down didn't quite fit. Like, there's something just a little bit off. And as I look back, like, since I broke up with my fiance, I got to see that I'm probably a really bad person to break up with. Like, there was a lot of pieces, like, I just have a belief in, like, magic and love and fairy tales, that sometimes I don't see pieces up front. Like I don't see the warning signs, or I don't see what's actually happening. So it probably took 5 months, after I moved out, to be like, oh, she just doesn't want to be with me. And that sucked. I wouldn't change any of it. Like my belief and my optimism and my love. I really like that aspect of myself. And it's easy to get to play things safe in this world. And it's easy to just set things up in a way where we don't get hurt. And I've no interest in that. Like that's not living for me. Like having an open heart and sharing my life with people is very important to me. And the people who are important to me are the ones that make the difference. People that I don't have to explain myself to, I don't have to justify myself to, makes a massive difference. And really I wanted to share this because I needed to hear some of this. It would have made a big difference for me hearing some of this going into last year. But I found some really solid people and some people that like helped me navigate through the process, and it was really uncomfortable and really painful, because essentially it's like stepping out of the matrix. It's like seeing that actually I was living in a system that did not work for me anymore, and I'm not meant to do things that way. That's been the greatest piece for me. It takes a bit of uncomfortableness and pain to break the patterns, to interrupt myself, to see where there was places that, like, my brain's addicted to those situations, like constantly going back to those pieces in my relationship, constantly going back to those types of situations at work, because it's like I've conditioned myself to look for those needs, and it's like withdrawing from all of those pieces. So like I stopped doing things that I would do normally. Like I didn't work out regularly for most of last year, and that would have been a strong go-to for me for a long time. But it got me actually sitting back and thinking of like, who am I, and do I need to be fit to present myself in a certain way to the world, because like that's some sort of a value for me. Or what if I get overweight, or what if I don't work out every day, or all of those pieces. And it just got me more thinking of like, who am I, like as a man, as a person in society, and really seeing that there's certain things that I don't have any interest in. Like I've no real interest in going to places where I distract myself from whatever it is I'm experiencing anymore, because actually diving in and surrounding myself with people that help walk me through the process of becoming a bigger version of myself is the only thing that's, not the only thing, but that's really, really important to me now. And family, just, was also saying that, I moved to Canada and my sister's been here, and for the last couple of years we've been kind of like banging heads a little bit, and we spoke last week, and both of us got quite upset. And for me it was just seeing that the dynamic that has been there doesn't work anymore. And some days it really takes something to stay talking, to get upset, to get angry, to get pissed off, to stay there and be like, well, like, we'll work it out together, because I'm not willing to stay where things were and put up with that kind of relationship anymore. And I'm seeing more and more now that that's not normal, and it's really, really important to me to be able to help people going through those sorts of things, and to surround myself with people who want to go that distance with me. It's kind of all I've got for today. Lots of love.